let's shift gears to the purple and gold. So, here is the scoop on what LeBron had to say. He admitted that while there are moments they look like world beaters, there are other nights where the performance is, in his own words, disgusting. Sir Charles naturally had a field day with that. He turned to Ernie Johnson and asked if that inconsistency sounded familiar. It is basically the life of a senior citizen. You wake up one morning feeling fresh, but the very next day, your body betrays you. You are screaming, "Ah, my sciatica, my back!" Charles Barkley went absolutely nuclear on the Lakers once again, and his assessment was so spot on it was painful to laugh along with. Between comparing their defense to the Washington Generals and his hilarious Oprah Winfrey giveaway impersonation, the sciatica jab aimed at the king was the cherry on top, Chuck did not pull a single punch, and frankly, every critique hit the bullseye. This segment was instant classic material. Before we dive in, hit that like button and let me know in the comments, are the Lakers a serious threat in the West this year, or is Barkley preaching the gospel truth? Also, tell me, why is there so much animosity toward this franchise? Barkley explained his own frustration perfectly, the lack of accountability. It is always the blame game in Los Angeles. 3 seasons back, Russell Westbrook was the scapegoat. Then they pointed fingers at Frank Vogel. Next, it was D'Angelo Russell, followed by Darvin Ham. The narrative is that it is always someone else's mess, and that refusal to look in the mirror drives Chuck crazy. You cannot constantly deflect responsibility for your own failures. Let's take a second to appreciate Barkley's genius before analyzing the stats, because the man has turned hating on the Lakers into a legitimate art form, worthy of the Louvre. He dropped the Oprah reference to describe their defense. You get a layup. You get a layup. Everyone scores. He implies that playing against Los Angeles is a morale booster for opponents because the Lakers make every other squad look like champions. Comparing them to the Washington Generals, the team famous for losing on purpose, was savage. He is tired of the media sugarcoating the reality just to keep the big market relevant. Bottom line, the Lakers are average at best. If you are a regular viewer of Inside the NBA, you are well aware that the Lakers are Chuck's muse. He does not talk about them out of affection, but because they provide the most consistent stream of comedy gold that makes viewers spit out their coffee, the team is proving his point every night. They just aren't good. It is plain and simple. We are forced to discuss them because the networks are obsessed with the brand, but the on-court product is subpar. They lack athleticism completely. Opponents get quality looks on every possession because Los Angeles cannot keep anyone in front of them. Jason Kidd coached a masterpiece for Dallas, especially considering the Mavericks were fielding a depleted lineup and still won by 20 comfortably. The Lakers have become a comedy gift that keeps on giving for Barkley. This most recent episode of the show handed him fresh ammunition, which he utilized with the comedic timing of a veteran stand-up comic. The roast began with James's own assessment of the squad. LeBron is on record saying that while there are flashes of brilliance where they look elite, the downtime is downright repulsive. He used that specific word. The franchise player characterized his own team as disgusting to the press. That is either incredibly honest self-reflection or a desperate plea for a trade, depending on how you interpret the tea leaves. The analyst broke down the disconnect between who the Lakers want to be versus who their roster actually allows them to be at this stage. They are geriatric in key spots. They completely lack perimeter defenders. LeBron is the oldest, obviously, but the issue is a lack of young legs on the wing. There is simply zero resistance against guards who drive to the rim. That is the fatal flaw. Sure, they might block a shot here and there, but they have no ability to stop the ball at the point of attack at the 1, 2, or 3 spots. That roster construction explains the blowing hot and cold. Charles Barkley took that concept and spun it into a metaphor that viewers will not forget. He compared the team's variance to an elderly man waking. Some days you feel spry. Everything clicks and you are moving freely. The very next morning, your sciatica is flaring up and your body refuses to cooperate. The parallel between James's comments on the odd of Barry, team's volatility, and the biological reality of aging was so precise that the entire studio crew lost their composure, laughing. The thing is, it was not malicious, it was factual. LeBron James is in his 40s trying to dominate the NBA. His squad has great nights and terrible nights with zero consistency. In between. That is not random chance. That is exactly what late-stage athleticism looks like when you ask a 41-year-old body to carry a franchise through a grueling 82-game schedule. But Charles Barkley was absolutely relentless, refusing to drop the subject after just one punchline. He kept the Lakers in the hot seat, specifically targeting the disastrous state of their defense. You are spot on. While Luka Doncic and Austin Reaves have been nothing short of spectacular on the offensive end, Luka flirting with a triple-double nightly and Reaves tearing up the league with over 25 points a game, the team's defense is essentially a revolving door. Opponents just breeze past them off the dribble, collapsing the paint and finding open shooters. The hope was that trading for DeAndre Ayton would solve this, providing a defensive anchor to lock down the interior for Los Angeles. Instead, he has looked pedestrian far too often. Even with LeBron giving maximum effort, you simply cannot leave the gate wide open. It is like kicking a beehive. Once the swarm is loose, it does not matter how hard you try to swat them away. You are going to get stung without frontline resistance. Before we dive deeper, smash that like button and subscribe for more unfiltered NBA coverage. 142 to 224. The panel eventually moved past the jokes to dissect the actual basketball mechanics causing this collapse, and the breakdown was legitimate. Beneath the comedy lies a harsh reality. The Lakers completely lack perimeter defenders. At the guard and wing positions capable of stopping anyone determined to get to the rim, when you cannot stop penetration, the entire defense crumbles. Everything behind that first line gets stressed to the breaking point. Your rim protectors are scrambling, rotations become impossible, and the whole system turns reactive instead of proactive. Ayton was brought in with one job: be the physical enforcer in the lane who cleans up mistakes and makes drivers think twice about challenging the rim. But the reality? He has been average at best. He is not the disaster some claim, but he is certainly not the eraser they paid for. He is not the sole reason they are losing, but he is definitely not the defensive savior the Lakers envisioned when they signed the paperwork. The beehive analogy Barkley used is actually perfect. It sounds funny, but when you offer zero resistance on the perimeter, you are essentially kicking the nest. Every opponent that blows by a defender is a bee, hitting the paint with full momentum. You can have all the height in the world back there, but if you are facing 3 or 4 guys attacking downhill at the same time because nobody stopped the ball, you are cooked. If the swarm is already inside, blocking every shot becomes mathematically impossible. The rotations and recovery speed required simply do not exist when your perimeter defense is that full of holes. If you're loving this breakdown so far, make sure to hit subscribe. Now, the media loves forcing us to talk Lakers, but let's be honest, they are strictly a mediocre team right now. There are far more exciting storylines out west. I am personally buying stock in San Antonio. Victor and the crew are coming. You have Oklahoma City and Denver dominating, and even Houston is looking dangerous. But man, the Spurs are knocking on the door of greatness. Back to L.A. Though Luka and Reaves are offensive juggernauts, no debate there. Luka is a walking triple-double threat, and Reaves is having a breakout season, scoring over 25 a night. It is one of the best individual runs in the Western Conference. Scoring is not the problem for Los Angeles. They have the weapons to put up big numbers against anybody. Sitting at number 5 in the standings, they have rolled out their big three of LeBron, Reaves, and Luka for the 11th time, yet the results are mixed. And this is where Sir Charles delivered the moment of the night regarding their defense. You get a bucket! You get a bucket! What are we doing here? Then Barkley went full Oprah Winfrey. You get a basket! You get a basket! Everybody gets a basket! Comparing the Lakers defense to the famous Oprah car giveaway was absolute brilliance. It was so accurate it deserved a standing ovation. Because that is exactly what playing the Lakers feels like right now, a charity event. Every team that visits gets a career high. Opposing players look like first ballot Hall of Famers against that perimeter defense. Come on down and grab your points. We are handing them out freely tonight and every night. And just when you thought he was done, Barkley dropped the Washington Generals line. For the younger audience, the Generals are the team paid to lose to the Harlem Globetrotters. The Globetrotters are the entertainers, the magicians, the main event. The Generals, they are the props. Their only job is to make the other team look spectacular by getting crushed every single night. They are institutionally designed to be the losers. Charles Barkley looked at the Los Angeles Lakers, a franchise with 17 banners. The house that Kareem, Magic, Shaq, and Kobe built, and called them the Washington Generals. He is saying every team that plays them turns into the Harlem Globetrotters. Every opponent comes into the arena and gets to put on a highlight reel because the Lakers make everybody look like superstars. It was a brutal takedown, but hard to argue with. Don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed this recap and subscribe for more daily sports news. Looking sharp. The studio crew erupted in laughter, but deep down, every Lakers fan watching felt the sting of truth. A little voice in their head whispered, "He's right," while Clippers executive Lawrence Frank tried to sugarcoat their disaster, claiming they hadn't given up. Charles Barkley shut that down instantly. He joked that the Clippers have waved every color flag imaginable, not just the white one. We are talking purple, orange, blue, you name it, they've waved it. The white flag is just the latest symbol of a franchise defined by Kawhi Leonard's never-ending injury saga. But let's be real, the Lakers were the main course of this roast session. Before we dive deeper, smash that like button if you love unfiltered NBA talk. Barkley made sure this segment hit hard. Beneath the comedy, his analysis of their defense was dead serious. Sure, the Lakers are sitting at 5th in the West, which sounds respectable, but look at the Sharks circling in that water. You have the Thunder, Nuggets, Rockets, and Spurs all playing elite basketball with actual defensive identities that Los Angeles simply lacks. Barkley specifically mentioned he is jumping on the San Antonio bandwagon, which is huge because Chuck rarely praises teams unless they earn it. The Spurs are sitting pretty at 3rd in the conference and have already smoked the top-seeded Thunder 3 times. Dylan Harper is dropping 11 points a night as a 19-year-old rookie. This organization has successfully retooled with dangerous young talent, proving this isn't just a lucky. It is the start of a dynasty. Meanwhile, the Lakers are clinging to the past, built around a superstar entering his twilight years, and Luka Doncic, a genius talent who still hasn't clicked with the team's culture. They have plenty of firepower, sure, but their defense has holes big enough to drive a truck through. Sometimes it clicks, but other times it is a disaster. Or as LeBron put it, absolutely disgusting. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel so you don't miss our next update. What makes Barkley's take resonate is that he says what other analysts are too scared to mention. The Lakers are stuck in mediocrity. They aren't terrible enough to tank for a draft pick, but they certainly aren't good enough to scare the heavyweights in the West. They are trapped in that brutal middle ground, staying relevant only because LeBron James attracts eyeballs, no matter what the standings say. But fame doesn't win championships in May or June. The conversation about LeBron getting older is awkward for the media, which is why Chuck cracking a joke about sciatica was so brilliant. It highlighted the physical reality of playing pro ball at 41 years old. Even for a machine like LeBron, the body has limits, leading to the roller coaster we are seeing now. Some nights are legendary, others are rough. It all depends on how the back feels that morning. This isn't hate, it is just biology. Nobody is dismissing what the King has done for the game. His longevity is a miracle in itself, but respecting his legacy doesn't mean we have to ignore the obvious decline. Barkley is one of the few voices brave enough to say it straight without sugarcoating it with 17 excuses. And then there is that alarming stat about the big three. LeBron, Reaves, and Luka have only shared the court 11 times this entire season. Think about that. The trio that is supposed to define their identity has played together just 11 times, and we are way past the halfway mark. Between injuries, rest days, and weird scheduling, they haven't built a shred of chemistry. You can't expect to win titles without continuity. You cannot forge a defensive identity in 11 measly games. You can't build trust in your rotations when your stars are never in the lineup together. That is why they are shifting to a zone defense, which is a massive red flag. It tells you the coaching staff is out of answers. Zone is what you run when your guys can't guard anyone one-on-one. It is a survival tactic, not a dominance tactic. It works as a curveball to confuse an offense temporarily, but relying on it in the playoffs against the best scorers on the planet, that is a recipe for a quick exit. If you want more honest NBA breakdowns like this, hit that subscribe button right now. That is not a fix. It is a temporary patch. Elite squads like the Spurs, the Thunder, and the Nuggets are going to find those cracks in the dozing zone defense and punish them every single time. That Washington Generals comparison cuts deep because the Lakers have spent the better part of this year making average teams look like world beaters. Rivals roll in, torch the perimeter, collapse the paint, kick out for wide open threes, and walk away with box scores that make their highlight tapes look legendary. It is like the Harlem Globetrotters running circles around the Lakers defense with the same ease that the real Globetrotters have dominated the actual Generals since 1971. Chuck saw it, he called it out, the studio lost it. And every Lakers fan watching at home had to chuckle too. That specific, painful kind of laugh you give when someone roasts the team you love with the cold, hard truth. The West is a Shark Tank this season. You have Oklahoma City sitting on the throne, the Spurs making noise right on their heels, Denver flexing that championship DNA, Houston bringing young energy and lockdown defense. Meanwhile, the Lakers are sitting in 5th with massive work to do if they want. To be viewed as a real playoff threat instead of a first-round snack for whoever matches up with. Before we get to Barkley's next roast, hit that subscribe button. Barkley is not going to stop. The Lakers are too reliable a source of comedy and too massive a brand for him to ignore. But the sheer quality of the material they are handing him has gone through the roof this year, and that is a massive red flag for anyone hoping the Lakers figure it out before April. It is the Oprah effect. You get a bucket. You get a bucket. Everybody gets a bucket. Charles Barkley calling the Lakers the Washington Generals on national TV is savage. And the worst part is, trying to argue against him is genuinely impossible right now. The defense is a myth. The sciatica joke was earned. The Oprah bit was absolute gold. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and let me know your Lakers take in the comments below.